Today's edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron delivers fresh ingredients and recipes to your door so you can cook something new and interesting tonight. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by visiting blueapron.com/MacVoices. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is a fun show for me because we've got an anniversary to celebrate, not a birthday, but an anniversary and a new product announcement, a new product revision as well. And it's obviously from one of my favorite companies, and that's Smile. We have Mr. Greg Scown with us to talk all about it. Greg, welcome. It's great to have you back.
Chuck, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. And we'll get this out of the way up front. Smile is a sponsor of the show. That's not why you're here. You're here because you make great products, and I love talking to you about those products. So just under the heading of full disclosure, folks, now we can move on with the show. So Greg, we have new stuff here to talk about. But first, let's talk about the anniversary of TextExpander's going to the cloud.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. So April 5th is TextExpander's first anniversary as a cloud service. And so we released last year at this time. Since then, we've shipped a full-featured Windows client. We've saved users. I mean, we're actually up to the point where we're saving users tens of thousands of hours a month. And we know this because we have statistics that we're able to capture centrally that we never had before. We're able to give statistics to teams. I mean, it's just really phenomenal. It's been very, very exciting.
Greg, we've talked about this several times on and offline about some of the controversy that surrounded TextExpander moving to the cloud and doing some of those things and the subscription service and all. And the point that I think got missed by so many people is that you were looking to do some new and interesting things with TextExpander that really you couldn't do any other way. Have some of those things, at least some of them, been realized?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think the chief among them, the things that we've been looking to do are to leverage the advantages that there are to having TextExpander based in the cloud. One of those is considerably more reliable sync for everyone. And so your setup is super simple. You install the TextExpander client, you enter your email address and password, and all of your snippets arrive, period. You don't futz with Dropbox settings. You don't mess around with iCloud and whether its data is available to you. None of that anymore, which, we probably underplay that a bit, but that's really been phenomenal. Just the basic reliability of the product has gone up considerably since the sync and the data experience is entirely done by us.
Okay, so that's obviously a great thing, but it also puts an extra burden on you as far as some security goes. And I know that too has been there have been questions asked about that. Where does that stand right now?
Sure. So when we shipped, we did not have encryption at rest, and so snippets were stored in our database in plain text and on the hard drive or on the solid state drive there. And we have since managed to offer that capability. In fact, actually, we introduced it last week. As a matter of fact, when we launched, the then stable version of the database software that we were using did not offer that feature at all. We would have had to have used a sort of bleeding edge type version, and we decided that we did not want to do that. That didn't seem like it was going to be our best bet at the time of introducing a new product. And we also ultimately wound up having to switch service providers to do it the way that we wanted to. And we accomplished that last Thursday.
Greg, that's the kind of thing that it really gets me, that people issue a lot of criticism. They never seem to ask the questions. Now, that's a tough balance, trying to figure out, do we favor security or do we favor stability? I think I too would have gone with stability, because if not, man, all of a sudden you have an unreliable product, even if it is secure.
Right. Well, and the other thing is that data that was in transit has always been secure. So, I mean, we didn't skimp on that in particular. We just felt that as a risk vector, the notion that the machine or the storage device on which your data is stored in someone's data center is not the most likely vector for attack. There are other vectors that are more likely, and we certainly wanted to close this one, and now we have. So,
great. Okay, so TextExpander for Windows. I definitely want to get into this just a little bit because a lot of us, I don't as much as I used to, but a lot of us have to exist in both worlds. And this would seem to be just a godsend because really there were some utilities over on the Windows side that were kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit like TextExpander, but nothing with its power.
We're just thrilled to be able to do something that our customers have been asking us for a long time. It didn't make sense in a world where your data was stored locally and where we had sort of a platform-specific client. But it made a lot more sense in a world where there's cloud storage of your data that we can make available to you across all of your devices. And so that was something that, again, we've known for a long time that we would like to have taken it on because there certainly was customer demand for it. But now we're able to offer it, and that's been very exciting.
And it's been well received, I gather.
Yeah, I believe so. We certainly, the percentage of our users who are on Windows is growing, which is great.
Well, I say it all the time in the sponsorship spots, and I say it to anybody that will listen. I don't use TextExpander every day. I use it multiple times an hour. It's one of those things that if I sit down at a Mac that doesn't have it, it just feels like, I've got one hand tied behind my back. It's that good.
Yeah, well, so we introduced something last month on the service that I think is kind of fun, which is that we email all of our users with a summary of their month's activity, which includes the amount of time that they've saved in a given month and the number of snippets they've expanded, and then some tips that are appropriate to, essentially whether they're a power user or whether they're perhaps not getting as much out of the service as they could. And so that's been really kind of neat to get a sense of, this is how I did this month.
So this is the first anniversary of going to the cloud, but how old is TextExpander now? I don't even know. I can't remember a time without TextExpander.
Let's see. We shipped TextExpander as such in May of 2006. And then prior to that, Peter Maurer shipped it as TextExpander about 9 months earlier than that. So we originally acquired TextExpander back in the day.
Okay, so it's been out there a long time.
But we've been at it for over 10 years on our own.
Wow. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And it still feels as fresh a utility as anything. If you show it to someone one of those few people who aren't using it, it still feels like something that, okay, you can take advantage of this 10 minutes after you set it up. Or you can dig real deep into it and make even more use of it. So that's one of the things I think it's fascinating about this utility, that it has a learning curve that's so flat at the top, but you can go so deep if you need to.
Well, although definitely to your listeners, don't assume that the people that are using TextExpander. By all means, check with them, and by all means, show them.
Spoken like a real marketing guy.
I would be remiss if I did not say that. I mean, you can feel like everybody uses TextExpander and like everybody knows about it, but that's probably not the case. So by all means, feel free to tell people and to shout from the rooftops. We appreciate that very much. I mean, seriously, word of mouth and individual recommendation is still our number one source of customers. And so we're incredibly grateful to the people who put their trust in us enough to do that. And so we appreciate it.
Good. Is it safe to say, and I'm not trying to pry anything out of you, but is it safe to say that there are more enhancements coming, more changes?
Oh, it is safe to say that we have plenty of stuff planned. It's easier for us to talk about what we've accomplished to give you a sense of what we might accomplish in the future. We tend to be kind of close-lipped about what's coming, mostly because we would hate to set someone up to disappoint them. I mean, some things take longer than we expect. I'm incredibly grateful that we didn't say, on day one, oh yes, we'll have data encryption at rest on the server within a month, because we would have utterly failed. And you don't want to do that to your user base. You want to set realistic expectations. I mean, if you had asked us a month ago or so about it, then I think we could have said something a little more optimistic.
Yeah. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Blue Apron. the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Blue Apron's mission is to make home cooking more accessible to everyone, regardless of your location or experience, while supporting a more sustainable food system. Blue Apron delivers high-quality meats and produce by partnering with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. Produce is sourced from farms that practice regenerative techniques, beef, chicken, and pork come from responsibly raised animals, and seafood is sourced sustainably. That's their way of making sure they can deliver the best ingredients now and for a long time to come. Blue Apron is not only available to 99% of the continental United States, but also to 99.5% of the so-called food deserts, making Blue Apron a terrific option for everyone, including those for whom a trip to the grocery store is an all-day event. If all that sounds expensive, it's not. Blue Apron meals start at under $10 per person, making them seriously competitive with your local restaurant. And by cooking at home, you get the fun and benefit of cooking with your family. By signing up for Blue Apron, you could be enjoying meals such as shiitake mushroom burgers with miso mayonnaise and roasted sweet potato, seared chicken and French lentils, or Southern Italian cod stew with arugula and feta salad with pizza bianca. Sound good? I can make it sound even better because you get your first 3 meals delivered right to your door for free with free shipping by visiting blueapron.com/MacVoices and signing up to try Blue Apron. Your first meals will be arriving shortly, so you need to get ready. All that means is that you need to plan to eat at home when the Blue Apron box arrives, since Blue Apron gives you everything you need for all their delicious recipes. No last-minute trips to the grocery store or ingredients for you to have on hand. If you haven't tried Blue Apron yet, you're missing out, but you don't have to. blueapron.com/MacVoices gets you 3 free meals with free shipping to try them out. Do it today, eat well this week. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Thanks to Blue Apron for their support of MacVoices. Well, that's not all we have to talk about, because we now have a new version of PDFpen, one of the other stars of the Smile universe. What is new with PDFpen?
So PDFpen has over 100 usability improvements in PDFpen 9, which is due out in early April. Their major areas include we've enhanced annotations navigation. So in the sidebar, you can view thumbnails, you can view the table of contents, and you can also view annotations. And we've really amped up what you can do with the annotations list. So it supports multiple selection now. You can copy the text of all the selected annotations to the clipboard. You can delete selected annotations using the delete key, and of course you can undo that. And we include highlights in your list of annotations. So if you've highlighted text in the document, then we include that in the list of annotations as well. So we've made annotations even more powerful for people who are regularly marking up their PDFpen documents.
And that's probably one of the main things that you're going to do with this, because it's so much easier than doing it in paper. I mean, we've all seen those folks who they print it out, they mark it up, then they take it back to the scanner, scan it, and then email it. And it just seems like, first of all, it's such a waste of so many resources, but more importantly, it's just clunky. And you don't have the capabilities that you do with PDFpen for those annotations, and of course the voice annotations and all the others. So,
I mean, so PDFpen's original purpose was, when we were getting started in business, we wanted to be able to take a document that we scanned and apply an image to it of our signature and be able to turn it around, because we were doing contracts and banking and all sorts of stuff, and trying to fax and print and all that was challenging. And especially it was challenging when we were occasionally working with our laptops not out of our home, or it just was a tool that we needed. So that was how it began, and then we've come quite a ways since then as well. But wait, there's more. There's not just annotations enhancements. there's also the table of contents has gotten a good going over as well. So in PDFpen, you can view the table of contents, and there is enhanced navigation. So you can see where you are. And then also, if you select an entry in the table of contents and it has more specific targeting than the page level, then PDFpen will bring you to the exact spot that's been targeted. So some PDFs have more detail on where is it supposed to bring you to when you click on an entry in the table of contents. And prior to now, we had just gotten you to the page. Now we will get you to wherever it was that the author had intended you to go. And then on PDFpen Pro, which supports editing and creating tables of contents, we've added a contextual menu. We've added support for multiple selection. And then also it will combine tables of contents when you combine files. So if you take two separate PDFs, each of which have their own table of contents, and you drag one into the other, then it will take the table of contents along with it and insert it in the correct place.
I've got to think about half those features because I'm not sure that I've really had the occasion more than once or twice to use the table of contents feature. So it may not be for everyone, but it's there and it's powerful.
Sure. Well, let me give you another example. If you were to choose combine PDFs from the scripts menu and pick 5 PDFs that you were trying to combine together, when PDFpen reads them in, it will add an entry to the table of contents with the name of each file, just to make it easier to see what on earth it is that you've just done.
Okay, that's something that I've done a lot.
Yeah, so now you don't have to do that manually. PDFpen Pro will do it for you.
Okay.
And we've added more export options as well. We've added a cornucopia of export options. So we did not have explicit export to JPEG or PNG or 1-bit black and white TIFF, and so we've added those. I mean, previously we told users, okay, save your PDF, open it in preview, and then save it this way. But obviously it's handier when that export is inside PDFpen. We've added export to flattened PDF, so if you want all of your annotations to no longer be editable, then you can do that. Export in grayscale, export 1 TIFF file per page. So if you're trying to separate something into multiple files very easily. And then we've added resolution selection. So you can pick 72, 200, 300, or 600 dots per inch for any of the bitmap image formats.
Can you give me an example of why I would want to save out to a TIFF of all things?
Why you'd want to save out to TIFF? Well, TIFF is a bitmap image format that supports multiple pages in a single file. So that's its main superpower. JPEG and PNG are one image per file, as opposed to multiple pages per file.
Okay, and I'm thinking in the graphics arena about just the size of TIFFs and the fact that they are basically lossless. So I'm thinking about image quality. I'm not even sure I knew that about that feature. So that's okay. That makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. Greg, how about security?
In PDFpen 9 and Pro 9?
Yeah.
Well, so we have currently this state-of-the-art encryption for saving and password protection for documents and owner password protection. That is AES 256, and it's using Adobe's revision 6 algorithm, I believe. And so that's as good as it gets in the PDF world right now. And we've been supporting that since, I think, PDFpen 7. So that's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, I think it's so important to point that out. It seems like every conversation we have nowadays, you have to include security in the discussion. And mm-hmm. one of the big things I always liked about PDFpen was I could encrypt my PDFs. I can redact them securely. Mm-hmm. So there's so many aspects of that I just saw somebody the other day just drawing a white box over something in Word, and it's like, no. Please don't do that.
Well, that was a great opportunity to explain redaction.
Yeah, and just how easy it is to remove that white block and see what's underneath.
Yes, and so yes, PDFpen has supported select and redact for many moons. I'm not even sure how far back now, but it's been quite some time. Yeah. We have added, and something I suppose you could actually use this. I don't know if it would be really a security feature, but we have added the ability to remove the OCR layer. So let's say that you perform OCR on a document and you don't want to have that text in the document anymore. Maybe you don't want it searched, or maybe you don't want it selectable or available, then you can actually go ahead and remove the OCR layer. I mean, obviously the image is still there, and someone else could perform optical character recognition on the document again, but it's just handy, and it could potentially save you some space if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that was my first thought. Is especially if it's a large document and you're sending it online, it might save some size for sending.
Yeah, and then for people who are familiar with find and redact, so let's say you have a piece of text that you're trying to repeatedly redact. Maybe you have a legal brief and you need to get rid of a surname. So the People versus Joyner, and you need to go through and search and redact Joyner and remove all instances of that. Then you can do that, and you've been able to do that for a long time. Now you can sort of do the opposite, which is you can find and highlight. And so if you were attempting to draw attention to the fact that it's the People versus Joyner, you could search for Joyner and highlight all instances of Joyner that appear in a document.
That could be very handy. I'm thinking in contract discussions where you, not necessarily a name, but a particular term or something like that. That would be, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited about that. I mean, and then we've added line numbering for the legal community. So they like to have these double-spaced pages that have line numbers down the left-hand column. And so we've added support for that. And then we've done other things that are things that people have asked us for over the years that, maybe didn't bubble up to the top of the list until recently, but we've added 2 additional custom highlight colors. So now there are 3 custom highlight colors that you can choose whatever you like if you don't like the standard, yellow, green, and pink. And then we've added a keyboard shortcut for zoom to width. We've added support for the print button in interactive forms. So if a lot of the forms come with a little print button up at the top, and PDFpen would merrily ignore that, and we don't anymore. And then another really big thing that we've added is support for or preliminary support for form fields. For form calculations. Excuse me. So if you open a form that has sort of basic calculations in it, then PDFpen will perform those calculations. Now that one's kind of a can of worms because that is done via fairly deep JavaScript support in the Adobe products, and that JavaScript support has been sort of a double-edged sword because any executable code that you put in a document is kind of a security risk, and so we've been much more limited in terms of our implementation, focused only on calculations and attendant things that go with that, as opposed to letting you script a PDF in arbitrary ways. And so this is our first cut of it, and I think it'll handle the basic cases of tax and accounting forms that have calculations baked in. And we're capable of adding to that or enhancing that as necessary as we learn more from our users.
You mentioned users a couple times, Greg. Is that where a lot of these ideas come from? Not all of them, I'm sure, but a lot of them?
No, well, we're grateful for that. We do get a lot of what we do from our users. I mean, it's not. I guess it's not a strictly democratic process per se. So, I mean, let me. The key point, I suppose, for someone who's listening to this is that if you are using PDFpen or, frankly, anyone else's product, and you stumble across something and you say, I really wish it would, and whatever the answer to that is, I wish it would do this. I wish this were easier. I wish there were a key for that. Don't hesitate to write. I mean, we really do love to hear from users about this stuff. We log it all. We tally the logs that we get. And when we sit down to look at what are we going to do next, then that figures prominently in our decision-making process. So, please do. Now, on the flip side, there are things that we look at and say, okay, we're going to do this because it's a good thing to do, whether or not we'd received user suggestions for it or not. So, I suppose the classic example, I'm trying to think about the classic example. Well, the classic example for this one, I think, was find and highlight. I don't think we even got user requests for it, but it was sort of an obvious thing where we've been doing find and redact, we've been doing find and replace. Why have we not been doing find and highlight? It just seemed like we had to do it.
And I mean, I'm so used to just using find and, okay, there it is, find the next one, there it is. So I love that idea. You just saved me a lot of time.
Well, I think you could even cheat and do this, which is that you could use find and highlight, and then you could go back and use remove all annotations. And so, you could just use it to draw your attention to something, which sometimes is handy. Or if you were giving a PDF to someone else, you could do that, and they could in turn remove all the annotations later. So, frankly, they can even use the demo version of the product to do that. So.
Well, and I think most of us work with PDFs that are probably, 1 to 10, maybe 20 pages. But when you're talking, even 20 pages is a lot. But when you start talking about contracts and all that are, 50, 100, 200 pages long, a feature like that, to be able to flip through the PDF on screen and say, oh, there it is. It's highlighted. Okay, page 56. I've got to go and find that and see what that says about this particular issue. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I mean, this is probably a more limited scope feature, but we have added optical character recognition support for horizontally laid out Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And so this is something that we've received some substantial requests for, and that's in PDFpen Pro only.
Okay. Yeah,
But we've even managed to get to some of the niche things that we've wanted to do for a while, but that are that take some time.
Well, but if one person's niche is another person's mainstream, so if you have enough interest in that, yeah, it's obviously important to someone. Mm-hmm. So did we miss anything?
I'll probably
just in case.
The great thing about PDFpen 9, writing the what's new bullets for PDFpen 9 was a challenge, actually. And it was a delightful challenge because there's just a lot in there. And we were able to group some chunks of it. So certainly annotations, tables of contents, and export were really solid groupings where they received a substantial collection of updates and changes. But then, we have more bullets in this than any that we've had before. And the last bullet is and over 100 other usability improvements, which we really just can't even fit in here. And I mean, some of them are indeed fairly small, but just in terms of the day-to-day experience of using the product, any small improvement to something that was causing friction or making you slower or not enabling you to do something you could do more easily, those things, they add up. And so, we're thrilled that PDFpen 9 is both a collection of new things that we can celebrate and a collection of other things under the hood that we can't really celebrate other than to say collectively that, wow, there's this additional stuff. I mean, they'll be listed in the release notes, but there was just no way to fit them all, which has really been fun.
Yeah, that's always a nice problem to have, no question. Instead of having to say, okay, it does this and it does this, mm-hmm. and that's it.
And to be clear, I'm incredibly grateful to the whole team. I mean, I do the interview, right, or Philip does the interview, and we talk and we speak very, very positively about the product and such. But really, this is not just one person. This is a team of people, and they've just done absolutely phenomenal work. I'm super proud of the whole team.
Yeah, I've had the occasion to, well, I know some of your team very well. I've had the occasion to interact with them both personally and professionally, and you have an amazing team. You really do. So we have to, at this point, ask, what kind of upgrade pricing is there for this?
We have not changed the upgrade pricing. It's going to be the same upgrade pricing as PDFpen 8. So it'll be $30 to upgrade from PDFpen 8 to PDFpen 9, or from PDFpen Pro 8 to PDFpen Pro 9. So the version upgrade is $30. And we're going to do the same thing that we've done in the past, which is we'll give you a great deal if you decide that you want to go from PDFpen 8 to PDFpen Pro 9. That's just $50. And that is the difference in cost between PDFpen and PDFpen Pro if you're buying a brand new license. So the best time to go from PDFpen to PDFpen Pro is during a major version upgrade because we offer you good pricing on that.
And how about folks that maybe are a little farther down the pecking order, maybe a
Oh,
PDF
I'm
pen?
sorry. Any previous version
Any,
of PDFpen to PDFpen 9 is $30, and any previous version of PDFpen to PDFpen Pro 9 is $50.
perfect.
So yeah, no, we're firm believers in, you may not have upgraded in the past, but you decide that you want to be on our latest and greatest, and we'll cut you in on a deal, because that's where we'd like you to be.
Do you take credit cards over Skype? because
Yeah.
I want that to replace the find and highlight feature right now.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that you were security minded, so you probably don't want to do that over Skype.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right,
But you can send me a password protected PDF with it, and that might work. Okay.
Created by PDFpen Pro, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But at any rate, and then for new users, PDFpen is $74.95 and PDFpen Pro is $124.95. So no changes in the pricing structure.
Worth every penny. Worth every penny. Again, this is one that I don't use it as often as TextExpander, but I do use it for business, and it's just, I mean, PDFs have kind of taken over, and in a world where now you don't send things by postal mail anymore. You send them by email or FTP or Dropbox or a dozen different ways. But the point is that you just don't move the physical things anymore. You move the PDFs, and so having something like PDFpen is so essential.
Right, and you don't fax things. And in fact, actually, I found a recent use for PDFpen that I find a bit handy, which is that every once in a while you have to exchange credentials with somebody. So you have a password to an account or service that you need to exchange with a third party. And you don't, what people have done to date, which I find horrifying, is they just email it or they just send it via text message, like just the whole information. And what I find to be a sort of better process is that I will create a password protected PDF and send it to the person. And then in a completely separate channel, be it text message or Skype or what have you, I will send them the password to the PDF. So never do they have both pieces of information sitting in the same channel, sitting on the same server in perpetuity, etc. So I think that that's a much better way to handle that situation than we've been doing to date. And that's something that I use PDFpen to do.
And folks, I hope go back and listen to that last part because I agree with that 100%. In my business life, you send in applications or license information with social security numbers frequently, and we've decided a long time ago we don't do that. We use solutions like this so that the password and that information can never cross because you're handling somebody else's information. If it's just yours and you want to be sloppy about it, that's one thing. But if you're in an office situation where you're handling somebody else's or multiple people or a whole sales force, man, you want to be really careful with that because you could not only create a lot of havoc for them, but you could create some legal trouble for yourself. So pay attention. Greg, thank you so much. This has been a blast, and now I'm super excited to see now what the next step is with all the products. I don't know what will get revved next, but these features are. I love it when a revision comes out and I hear about new features that really I can use, and that's what I just heard from PDFpen.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting April for us, and I suppose maybe related to this, we can close on sort of a note about TextExpander as well, which is that one of the things that I said when we released TextExpander originally a year ago was that doing it as a subscription service would get us off of the upgrade treadmill. And I was widely quoted on that, and I'm not sure that I don't slightly regret having used that phrase. But at any rate, I said it. And so, here we are a year later, and I thought, all right, I'm going to look back and see, all right, how many updates to TextExpander did we do in the previous year before we began the subscription service? And we did 7. And then, essentially the 8th was the brand new TextExpander service. So I didn't count that one. And in the past 12 months to the macOS app alone, we've done 17 updates. We don't hold things. We don't have to wait for a major version release. So that's been really neat. And that's been exciting for us. And then that doesn't include the releases that we've done on Windows or iOS. And so we're just able to produce better in that space for our customers, and we're really excited about that.
You may regret saying it, but I think that you all were, you were the sharp edge of the spear out there. You were out there on the bleeding edge, the first ones to do something like that with a utility like this, and you've made good on exactly the subscription model for software. Is that you're right? Features don't have to be held back; they just they get rolled out as they are ready, and you've done that with TextExpander. So I know it was a tough storm, and I'm glad you gotten through it and have really proved a lot of the naysayers wrong, because this is the way it's supposed to work.
Well, I mean, the objective isn't that. The objective is to deliver excellent value to our customers and to enable them to do things that they couldn't do before. We have actually sort of on the teams, a typical team is probably about 12 users, and we have teams of almost 1,000 users who are using this. And then in a team, a given user can expect to save about 4 hours a month. And it's fairly common for an active user to save 8 hours a month. That's an entire workday. So, that was the promise, and we're super excited. And individuals can use the same sharing feature with other individuals just via their email address. Individuals get monthly reports with usage tips, and they get the same ease of use and bring up on all of their devices. So it's been super exciting for us. In fact, actually, by the time this airs, we will have introduced a new feature. So this is great. Between today and the time you air this. So we're introducing group prefixes. And so you can set on a per group basis the prefix that's used for all of the abbreviations in that group. So let's say that you use a / for all of your internet-related abbreviations. Then you can set that once and have it used for everything. Likewise, for groups that you share, you can set the default prefix for the group that's shared with everyone, and any individual user who's sharing the same group can override that prefix with their own.
Okay.
So this is something that users have wanted to do for a while, and so we're very excited to be able to offer that.
See, folks, I told you it works. He just keeps ripping out the new features.
Yep. Yeah, and that's not included in my 17 updates, and so I guess we're going to get one more in under the wire.
Okay, great. There is a trial version of PDFpen available on the Smile website, is there not?
Absolutely. You can go to smilesoftware.com/PDFpen, or if you remember it better, you can just go to PDFpen.com.
Okay. Folks, go check it out, please. And while you're there, check out TextExpander. Check out everything that Smile does, because it's really great stuff. Greg, thank you so much. First of all, congratulations on the first anniversary of TextExpander in the cloud, and congratulations on the new PDFpen and PDFpen Pro. We'll have you back again whenever you want to tell us what you're doing next.
Thank you very much. It's always exciting to speak with you, Chuck.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. As you can probably tell, Skype has given us a little bit of problems. I will tell you a little secret that Greg has done most of this interview without having to look at me, because my video phased out on him. So he's just talking to a blank screen, but he's done a great job. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com, bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.